the Jamaica Selectboard meeting to order on August 10th. First on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the July 22nd meeting.
22nd or 27th?
27th? 27th.
Since they were mercifully brief, I move we accept them.
Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the minutes of the July 27th.
I always
meeting
have two
approved.
S's and abbreviations for that.
Number 2.
Where is that?
Number 6.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, no. What S?
Should always should be one
Pretty straight one,
S.
isn't it?
To approve the timesheets for the town office, listers, highway, and transfer station.
Yeah.
Number 3, the select board to review and sign the select board orders. Number 4, time for public concerns. Doesn't appear to have any public here. Number 5, we received a letter, which I gave you, from Ronald Taylor. He has property on Craven Road, which is off of Howard Road, I believe, isn't it?
Howard Road.
Yes, Howard Road.
It's kind of
Is that
like
on
a
the
Lowry
river?
Road.
Mm-hmm. Yes, no,
Maui.
Maui, yes.
Okay, so anyway,
If you want, we can show it on the map if you.
I think I know where
there's
it
a
is.
little map right here. Apparently he's owned this property since 1984. There's a very small building on the property. He plans to retire here in 2020 and build a house on the property. Apparently, he thinks that the road is closed. Well, it's not closed. I didn't know, but there was a closed sign there for, I can't remember what Keith said the reason was. Do you remember what the
Well,
reason
the
was?
state police had asked them to put something out.
Okay, because there was somebody that was using the property, is that what it was?
I don't remember why.
Why? Just remember you.
I don't know.
They asked them to do it. You did it.
So they put a closed sign, so apparently, which, that really shouldn't have been done.
It may have
because-
something to do with people taking the GPSs and heading into the nowhere, right?
That's what
Right.
it was, that's what it
That's
was.
what it was.
And that was the idea. Is to
So
keep
who
people-
put the sign on?
We
Our guy
did.
did. He put.
We did, but we shouldn't have because it really wasn't closed.
Okay.
Probably should have put a no outlet sign instead of a
Yeah,
closed
I
sign.
think he said there was one.
No, I don't think so.
No, I haven't looked at it, but he was saying that he had something to indicate to people that it was a dead end or no outlet.
Well, anyway,
That's what the idea is for.
that part, he'd like the road maintained and plowed, starting now, basically, even though he's not living there. It is a road, class 4 road that we have to maintain. Up to
Class 3?
Class 3, class 3, I'm sorry. Class 4 is above his house, just above his property a little bit, and we don't have to maintain that, but probably, the road is, I checked with Keith, the road is passable, it's in good condition and everything like that, so there won't be any repairs to the road for us. So I assume that in the wintertime, they'll just have to plow it. And I will get in touch with Mr. Taylor and tell him that the road isn't closed and that the town will plow it in the wintertime. So if you wanted to go up there, I mean, that's our duty to do that because it is a class 3 road.
Mhm.
So if everybody's in agreement to that,
Is there a turnaround?
I don't know, I have to check with,
Because this gentleman, if his property is the last property on the road,
Yeah.
then he'll have to make sure that there's a turnaround for our
turn around
guys.
for our guys, yeah, we'll make sure, I'll check with Keith and,
Is that a requirement?
For us to have, to plow a road, yes.
Oh, really?
How long is the sign now?
Wasn't that clear to me?
So keep that they plowed it before then?
No.
I don't think so, I don't think it's ever been
Oh,
plowed.
oh,
Yeah, because it's just
There's somebody there.
nobody's there,
okay.
so, we'll check on the turnaround, we'll see if there is a turnaround there, if there isn't, I'll get in touch with him and,
You know, in the interest of simple economy, if he's going to go to that property, he gave us a call, we can make sure it's clear. But to go up there and plow every storm, if he's not retiring until 2020, I think.
Yeah,
Except that this is a class 3 road.
yeah, we have to do it.
Oh, is it?
And what I'd like to also do, because this has kind of exposed the fact that we have a class 3 road that hasn't been plowed, I'd like to ask Keith if there's any other class 3 roads that we have that aren't being plowed. And if they are, maybe we ought to think about converting them to class 4 roads.
That makes sense.
All right, I will check with Keith when I
Yeah.
check on the turnaround.
I didn't get the sense that he had not been doing it, it's just that Mr. Taylor wants to make sure it is done when he comes up.
Yeah.
Right.
And
But I think
that-
we asked Keith and he said he hadn't been plowing.
Okay.
The problem is if you don't do it on a regular basis, to do it,
Yeah.
let's say, 3 months into the
It could be
season.
frozen, so they
Yeah.
can't
Or
cover.
Can't do
the fellow might
anything.
call on a Saturday and say, oh, I'm coming up.
Right.
So then we have to have our guys come and plow it. It's gotta be plowed, and
Yeah,
that's our
for us.
responsibility to have it plowed. So we'll take care of that. On that note, we received notices from the state of Vermont for the environmental conservation. One is for the old R&D Sunoco. They filed an application for a restaurant with 20 seats and 3 employees. And this is our notice that they have done that. And also, Julie and Christopher Lowe, the property here in Jamaica, changed the use while reducing flows located on 3796 from Route 30. So that's,
Was it changed from, changed to?
it's change of use while reducing flows located on 3796 from Route 30.
Does it say what it changes?
What's this new restaurant about?
I think we had an application a little while ago as part of the flood zone issue. And
No.
that was the old Sunoco, R&D Sunoco, which is
Yeah.
Fleming Oil.
Right. It is in the
And
flood zone.
It is in the flood zone.
Yeah.
So
Is
this,
that her property over here?
The Shell
Oh,
Station.
the old
I don't
Shell.
understand
Yeah.
that jargon
It
there.
is in the-
That'll have to go through the flood
Change
zone
of use,
administration.
reducing flows, probably water. I imagine it's water and septic. It doesn't say, but I believe it's water and septic.
I think if they're gonna say change, yeah, let us know what it is. Maybe everybody knows.
Do they
this.
ever do anything with those
This
tanks?
is,
With what, the
The
tank?
tanks?
You're talking about, they were talking about the other property. The
Oh.
R&D Sunoco tanks have already been removed.
Oh, they have been removed? Okay, I do want to talk about the other one, so. Mo's, I want to talk about Mo's.
so
Okay.
this is the store application.
Yeah.
And
And
this
then
is
that's
Julie's.
Julie's.
Okay. All right, this is the one for this RD.
Okay.
At Ross.
Restaurant.
Rossville.
Mm-hmm.
And then that one's for that. Okay,
So they must be putting something there.
they're putting in I don't want to say restaurant at Julie's, they're putting in
Snack bar?
food.
I guess I can ask her. I know there's a building permit.
Yeah, it's to do with their, like serving food. And I don't want to say a restaurant because I don't know if that's what it's called,
Okay.
but I believe it's for that project there.
Now, that's the one across the
Right
street,
here,
correct?
yeah. Right here. Lou,
Do I have anything that you're
Yeah.
asking? No, I've got nothing.
Judy?
Oh, yeah. Not good.
Sorry, Rich, we're gonna make up for last week.
Before I begin my shtick, the removal of the tanks down at Mo's, does anybody know anything about that? Because that tank sits there, is that?
That's an empty tank.
Yeah,
Isn't, I believe the state, did that. Doesn't the state take out tanks after they've been there a certain amount of years?
The state oversees them.
They
They don't
oversee
do
them?
the actual work.
Okay, but somebody, Larry Brown is the one who removed them.
The state was overseeing that.
Yeah,
okay,
there's only
but
one
does it
big-
stay there or
Oh,
what?
no, it had to be removed,
Okay,
yeah.
because it's been there a little bit, not a tremendous amount of time.
Right, right, I believe they had taken the smaller tanks, there were some smaller tanks there.
Yeah,
And this is the bigger one, I don't know if that held the smaller ones, I don't know what that big white one did, it's a white one.
They filled a lot of 50-gallon drums with something.
Did they? Yeah, I saw those sitting around, yeah.
Because it has a great big rectangular hole at the base, and I wonder how secure that is in terms of safety.
How are people getting, kids getting into it, for example?
Yes,
Well,
exactly.
there's holes on either end, I'm sure that's to prevent some problems. Maybe
Yeah,
create
they'll have to
others.
take, because they removed the ones down here and they didn't leave anything. I mean, the ones up there at R&D.
Yeah.
Is that still his property?
Yes, it is.
I think it's bank owned, isn't it?
No,
It's for sale, for, I'm not
It's,
sure.
I
how
believe
many
it's
owners.
his
It's
property.
still his, bank hasn't foreclosed it.
Okay, I'll start with the transfer station very quickly. Things are going quite well with the use of the bags and people cooperating, etc. So I think we're on a good roll here. Just this afternoon, just to let you know, this afternoon I got a phone call from Mark saying that an old tree, dead tree, had fallen on the wires. On the wires leading up to the transfer station, and also was leaning over. So the electricity was still on, but it is obviously a safety hazard with that. And so I called up Green Mountain Power, and they thought it was a safety issue too. So I would imagine they're going to be out there tonight fixing it. So, but just to let you know that that has happened.
I've got a question on the transfer station. Have you been, have they been able to go every other week on removing that now, or?
Every 3 weeks now.
3 weeks.
Yeah, isn't that neat?
Yeah.
Yep,
Are people doing more recycling, so the recycle bins are getting filled more and
absolutely,
more?
and less compost, or less compact.
Uh-huh.
So it's, he called just last week, for them to pick it up. And that's 3 weeks worth of
So
stuff.
that's good, that's
Yeah.
saving us money
The
there.
only-
Sure.
the
Yeah.
only-
I suspect that there's been a lot of out-of-town trash that was going there before
Yeah, that could very.
this Act
well be.
148 started.
Mark said the only like side effect is the garbage sitting there so long and
Yes.
there's an incredible amount of flies.
Yes, yes.
And he
He
has
did
to go
say that,
into
and
the,
that makes a lot of sense.
into his office sometimes to get away from them.
From the flies.
Yeah.
There are some things that he can do, I think, to get the odor down, like throw some kind of,
Yeah,
thing
he
in there.
wasn't,
We used to have some for Linda.
Oh,
oh,
really? Oh.
he wasn't really, he was kind of joking about it, but.
Yeah,
I
but
was
we
there,
should, we
so-
should subject him to that.
We did those
So
for
tell
like-
us-
I don't know, if I know what it is. They want-
Okay,
That might be a good question to call Triple T on.
okay, I will do that and see. So, but that is going well, and I'm in the process of asking Keith to either raise that one container that has been locked, that has been iced in for every winter, I guess, either to raise it or move it down a little bit. And so I haven't been in touch with him, but we're gonna try to fix that, because in the wintertime, it's absolutely useless.
Yeah.
And one of the things, when things get a little bit more organized and we're in the groove, I would really like to begin to consider having some kind of a swap shop or something like that, and have it open on Saturdays only, with volunteers coming. But that's way in the future, and that's where I think we could hold it so that it would work. But that's just where my thoughts are. But more importantly than what's going on there is a new, this is on the town hall well. I was informed that the new owners, and that the closing just took place on Friday, of Smith House, which is, if you're facing the town hall on the right-hand side, has been sold. And the closing took place Friday, and that the message from the owners, who happen to be Smiths also, are very interested in cooperating with the town in terms of the town hall well. One of the contingencies they had in the buying of the house is that they were exploring putting in a well also. And in the process, I found that out, and so talked to my technical engineer, Steve Clark, and he, we were talking that, you know, maybe we need to look into it. Would it be a lot better for us to do that? One of the problems that we're running into is that to go up the left-hand side of the town hall, and I think I've mentioned this before, we hit a very steep incline, and that in order for the 45,000 pound drill truck, we're going to have to do some work in having an excavator at one end and what is it?
Dozer? Bulldozer?
Yeah, bulldozer, thank you.
You're getting bulldozer type work.
Right, literally. So, but there is a road there on the other side, and with Mr. Smith talking to me, we were on the phone Saturday night for a good hour talking about the prospects of it. Meanwhile, knowing that he may be interested in cooperating with us, and basically his need for a well also is that, are we able to do that at the same time? Now, I know when we were working with the Hineses in the easement there, the Hineses wanted also to be able to use the well if they wanted to. And we have that in the easement that they can. However, going up on the side of the Smith house, we don't run into a leach field. It's much safer, and Frost, who is the well driller, is much more at ease going up the Smith side than he is up the Tweedy and that side. So I've been talking to Steve about it and wanted to bring it up to you guys to see what you wanted to do. I have also been in touch with Chris Tomberg, and he told me I needed to talk to Meredith Simard, who is in another whole district of water having to do with water for being, the town being a water supply. So I had to give her all sorts of data on the size of the house, how many bedrooms in the house, how many people are going to live there, to see what, if we shared a well with them, what category we would fall into for a permit. And when I gave her the information and gave her the number of times that we use the town hall during a year with the number of, approximately the number of people, she actually wrote back to me saying that we would still fall in the category as a private well with sharing it with a resident, and that would be okay to do. So, which is the exact same thing we have with the Hines, okay? So in talking with Mr. Smith, he is very, very interested in drilling a well. He has actually gone to, part of his contingency in buying the property was whether he could drill a well. And he has seen an engineer by the name of Rabati, sound any familiar? Rabati, I think, something like that. And evidently there is an area up there, kind of close to where we were going to be drilling, that would be workable. And that he would like to be involved with this project with us. Now, according to what I found out from Chris and Meredith of the people over in Springfield is that we do have to have a new engineering plan that we already have for the other one, and that we would have to go and re-permit for that. But Chris said that he would be really very willing to help us with all of the changes. So what I'm bringing it up to you guys is, what would you like to pursue? I was talking to Ed tonight about it, and one of the things that he brought up was that if the Smiths are willing to share the cost of the well, that reduces our costs considerably. Because with the piping that he would be putting in and some of the piping we're putting in, and the well would cost around $7,000. Now, of course, we have paid already some engineering costs, and there would be some more engineering cost for us. It would still be, I think, less money than actually what we're already going to be looking at if we do it on the steeper side of the hill. Plus, Frost is not too excited about going over the leach fields on the left-hand side, where we would not have that problem on the right-hand side. So, I'm bringing it up to you guys because I want to discuss it with you and see what your thoughts are, and how you want to pursue, whether you want to go ahead with what our plans are now, or to discuss this with the new Smith family.
I have a question. Probably it could be a question for Chris Tomberg or the other lady. Can we use the engineer's report that the Smith family did? I don't know, I was just thinking that while you were talking, I was thinking.
It was made, but it has not been presented to Chris Tomberg.
Okay.
Okay, so it's like a very preliminary, from what I was talking with Mr. Smith,
Okay.
that it's a preliminary piece, but it has not gone forward to the kind of the plans that we have,
So I'm
that
wondering
had to be
if
submitted.
they have an engineer report, if we could use that, if they would share that with us, would save us costs, and we'd have to
Yeah.
ask them and
Right.
whatnot.
I would imagine that if we go with them, because it's going to be a shared well, we probably, this is my own, as we would say in the Army, G2ing. I don't know what that means in English.
Something to do with intelligence, as I
Yeah, it
recall.
does have to do with intelligence. He knows. That we would have to have plans
Okay.
that are acceptable to Springfield, and what these plans are not really written for that. That's my G2.
Yeah, it was just a thought as we were talking about them, if they're already doing an engineering study
Yeah,
for that well, and if we were gonna share it, could we use that too? But
yeah, I
don't
mean,
know.
we certainly can find that out.
We can ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we propositioned Ralph Smith, was all that worked out?
No,
What it would entail to, we were gonna drill on his property? That never, I know he didn't, but there was never any kind of, no one looked
No
into that
deal?
at all?
Oh, we kind of looked at it, but it still meant that we would have to go up
Okay.
where Ron Bell had us go up. But what he wanted
Smith's
us,
original response was no.
Yeah.
But,
he wanted us to put the piping in and
Right.
all that kind of stuff, and he wanted us to pay him.
I remember that, but
Yeah.
it sounded like if he would've went along with it, it would've been the way to go.
Yes.
Now,
No, the
how would
difference is,
how would the Heinz, how would they need to use that would they use it on their properties up the hill, or in case they ever move down here, or why would they want?
what he has told me is that he has been thinking about putting some houses up on a
Oh.
development.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yes. And so he wanted the ability
Okay.
to be able to tap into that well for that.
It's never gonna happen, because the guy's 70 years old.
Well, you never know.
Shh.
If he's asking, you
It's
know.
close to my age.
I have a question.
A youngster.
Yeah.
He's a lot younger than me, but I'm sure he's not gonna take it.
Wasn't there at one point we discovered that we couldn't share, was it a well we couldn't share with the
Right,
municipal?
Judy,
Yes.
Judy.
That we are
Yeah.
able to.
We are able to.
Yes, we
Yes.
are able
Okay.
to.
Because I remember that sort of stopped
Yes.
things for a while.
Actually, what we are able to do, it falls into the category of a private well. And
Even though
that's,
it's public
that's the
facility.
stuff I've been calculating with Chris and so forth. So,
Because it's so,
Yeah.
probably because we use it so little.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. If we, actually, there's a magic number. And the number of times is 60 events over 1 year. Anything beyond that, we go into a whole different category. And right now, we definitely, that would be more than one time a week.
Right, we don't have.
And
The whole
we're,
year,
yeah. And also the number of people, we could not have more than, I think, 125 at one event. So we don't fall into,
Does that hold 125?
Does, doesn't it?
I don't even think we have enough of those chairs. I don't even
I
think we have
don't.
125 chairs in there.
I don't think we do.
I remember the most I ever counted at town meeting was like 100, 110.
Okay.
90,
Yeah, and that was a
between
big
75 and 100 people. I
Yeah,
think
I don't think we've ever had
yeah.
120.
Right,
Right,
right.
it was a good question.
Has anyone ever heard of, trying to put a well in being such a,
Complex
No,
situation.
challenge?
What's funny is it was blocked because this individual worried about not being able to sell his place. He finally sells his place to a guy who's really cooperative. So we're back where we were 2 years ago.
Exactly.
2 years ago?
Wasn't it 2 years when this thing
2
started?
2 years,
2
right.
years ago now.
But it might move quicker now if these folks
Right.
Yeah.
want to work with us
Yes,
a little bit.
I think, I have gotten that word that it would move faster.
What would be your suggestion then? You're just looking for our,
At first, I thought, that what we should do is just get an easement from the Smiths, so that we could, instead of going up the left-hand side, go up the right-hand side where it's less of a slope, a lower slope than up this way. Eventually, we're still probably gonna have to be up at the same level. But hearing his concern about his own house and the water, he has a shallow well, and actually his water tested okay. Our water did not test okay for our shallow well. But he is more interested in having the proper type of
Right,
well.
he probably doesn't want to run out of water.
Right, and he doesn't want to run out of water.
Yeah.
Right,
And so hearing that and hearing his really desire to cooperate with us and share with us since Saturday night and my telephone conversation, I really have made the shift over to let's explore it. And then also Chris Tomberg saying, I will help you all I can. You know, it's almost like they want to get rid of us.
wow,
I think, the first question I would see, check with Chris Tomberg, if those folks, if their engineering plan goes through and they can put a well there, can we
piggyback on.
piggyback off of their engineering report? I mean.
Yeah, I don't think it makes any difference. An engineering report is an engineering report.
Report, you know,
Yeah.
and, because right now we can't do anything.
Right,
Our hands are still tied a little bit until they get, that that's a good spot for that.
right,
well.
right. And whether that has been determined,
We don't know.
I
that.
don't know that. And so I would have to find that out.
Right.
But, yeah, that whole, you know, this whole thing that I have here with the great big plans, that's the thing that has to go forward to Chris, and that has not happened. They haven't even prepared that, so.
Okay, but I think we're going in the right direction.
Just trying to escape.
You're going in the right direction, Judy, by
Okay,
you know, I know it's baby steps, but
Yeah,
we'll get there.
yeah. And I think it's gonna happen a lot sooner, Andy,
Before
than
winter?
2 years ago, 2 years
Do you
more.
think we can do it before winter time?
I'm hoping.
Fall, hopefully.
I have that feeling. Now, let me ask you this question. If he is not in, this is hypothetical, not in a position to pay half on the well, should we still go ahead and pay our portion and let him, like the Hines, have the opportunity to connect with that well if he chooses to do that?
Yeah, I think that's,
But, I mean, we're gonna benefit by it, so.
I think he sounds, if I had to guess, he's prepared to do it anyway.
I do think that, but I don't wanna make that
So, yeah,
determination.
I guess you would just keep talking to him.
Okay. Okay.
You
As
know,
long as we don't have to re-engineer everything, go through
Right.
all of that.
and if they would pay for half, that would, and then.
Yeah, that would be
That
really
would
the
be
best.
perfect,
They
right,
would.
right. It would save
But
them
if
money and save us
yeah.
money.
And then we would work out something where if the well failed. or-
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Half and half.
It would have to be
Contractor.
an easement again,
Yeah.
stating that,
Repairs.
right, that we would share the cost of
Okay,
the repairs and all of that. Okay? But if he is willing, if they are willing to share with us, it would be a whole lot cheaper and a whole lot
It's
easier.
easier, right.
So am I hearing?
yeah, I think proceed.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the
Yeah, keep
consensus.
going, don't stop, you've
Yeah.
done too much work
well,
to
let's
stop
stop
now.
you.
Okay, okay, yeah, I told him that I have his email and I said, I will let you know tomorrow, what the board said so that we
And
can
maybe you can
begin.
ask him, you know, is he willing to
Yeah.
pay for half,
Yeah, I will
something to that
ask
effect,
him
you
that.
know?
Okay, so,
We have limited funds. Very
Yeah,
limited,
we were very much over budget before.
so, there you go.
He's not gonna have any trouble paying for it.
What?
One of them is a physician, I think.
I don't know.
Hey,
That's-
keep it coming.
She's not a dentist.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Bob,
I have a couple of quick things, and one that's a little longer. Quick things from
I
our,
think you'd get away with it quick.
no, I'll be real quick. Last week, or last time we had a meeting, we talked about the possibility of paying for the sidewalk extension on Water Street by continuing from where FEMA picks up and paying the difference. The estimate is $15,000 for that piece of sidewalk. It seemed to me and others I've spoken to that $15,000 to replace a functional sidewalk, just for the aesthetics, was not in our budget. And that's kind of what I'm bringing to the table today, so we can decide or not decide, but it's approximately 15,000. Do you have a thought on that?
Did we ask Terry how much money, I thought about this afterwards, not how much money we have in our sidewalk fund, but we might need it for something else, I don't know.
Well, we have a-
Not something else, but another.
We have another sidewalk
another
that's in
sidewalk that
problem
might be,
now.
You know,
Yeah,
I would like to table it until we get a chance to look at it.
look at what,
I'd like to look at that portion of the sidewalk that we're talking about.
well, they're putting in the sidewalk, are you talking about what they're putting in now?
No, I want to see what we're talking about, ripping out and replacing.
Oh, well, just drive up there, 'cause I've been walking it.
I'm not quite sure, I'm ready to make
Yeah,
a decision without looking at it.
that's fine.
You should,
Yeah.
should say that FEMA is covering what was damaged in the storm.
Correct.
Just to have it.
Yeah, FEMA's covering every point. The
Right.
problem with waiting is, they needed to know that already, to continue up that stretch. So I've taken the liberty of telling the contractors that we were not going to expect them to run the sidewalk all the way up. Simply because they needed to know right now, they're putting up the foundation for the sidewalk
It's
today.
all laid out.
Yeah,
They're gonna pour it tomorrow.
so they needed to know right away, and so talked to Alexa, we thought about this, and we do have another sidewalk, here on 30 that's giving us problems, so we may need that money to fix that.
but shouldn't that be covered by,
Apparently not.
it's
No.
not?
No, there is no warranty on any of those, on any project like that, there is no warranty.
Okay. I mean, because that's getting
V-Trans
worse.
doesn't allow-
It's getting worse.
Yeah, we've got to deal with that.
We've got to deal with that, and I
Have
think
you
the
heard
money,
Chris?
No, I haven't emailed it, so
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
The next item I have, we discussed last week about using compost from Windham Solid Waste in the riprap on Water Street because we could get a good price for it. Talked to Keith, and he said that's not a good plan because the compost will not only settle, but it'll wash away. And so in that kind of a construction situation where we've got riprap, that it would settle, and then as soon as it rained, it would just wash away.
What wouldn't wash away?
Well, apparently dirt at least clogs and makes mud, so it'll make itself a little bit more sturdy, that's my understanding. As opposed to compost, which apparently is easy to dissolve.
Well, it's a lot lighter.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know much about compost. Or dirt for that matter. And then the other thing I have, I was approached by residents on River Street. River Road.
that's down in the other end of town.
The other end of town. And the
That's
question.
down in the good part of
The
the
good
town.
part of town.
Before the French Bridge.
Is that the French Bridge?
Yes, it is.
I never did that. But at any rate, y'all know where it is. About the speed limit, there's no speed limit sign on that road.
Oh, yeah.
And I've driven it, and they're correct, there's no speed limit sign. Conventional wisdom varies between, if there's no speed limit in the state of Vermont, it's 50.
Right.
Others said if it's a dirt road, it's 35. I can't find any of that in writing. Having said that, what I do find is that we have the ability to put the speed limit at 35 without having to do an engineering study.
Oh.
We can bring it down to 25 if we get an engineering study.
No, not an engineering study. It's
It's
the sheriff's
the
department.
sheriff's
Sheriff's
department, I'm sorry.
department.
Correct.
Different.
No engineering, no more
Road
engineers.
count Or traffic counts,
And
basically.
traffic,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
What?
Traffic counts.
Yeah,
then they check for speed and they,
yeah.
anyways.
They did that on
Uniform.
Turkey Mountain Road.
And that's how you get to 25.
Yes.
Right.
yes,
So,
exactly.
there was a rumor that they had done that, but Lex and I could not find any evidence that they had done that study for River Road. So, what I've done is I've put together a sample, only a sample, of an amendment to fix this.
Amendment to what?
Amendment to
To
the-
change the,
To our traffic ordinance?
to make it 35 miles an hour. It amends the traffic ordinance, and it'll reduce it, well, it'll post it for 35 miles an hour on the entire length. I drove that thing today at both 35 and 25, and quite honestly, it ought to be 25.
I would like to actually make this much more generic and say any gravel road in Jamaica ought to be 35.
That is in the statute. I brought that
At
up.
a
Oh, you
maximum.
mean, oh, yeah, from not 50.
Right,
I know.
I agree with
Not-
that.
I agree with that till I talked to Keith.
Oh,
And I mentioned it to Keith, and he said, according to the book, which I have copies of, if we do that, we have to post every dirt road we have with 35 miles an hour. If we put that in an ordinance.
How many times?
I don't know, but it means all of them. So everything that we've got that's got a dirt road, if we make an ordinance saying it's 35 miles an hour, we gotta post it on all of them.
Can we post it on just the, like, for example, let's look at Dalewood. You got Dalewood, you got Traeger, you got another one. Can we just post Dalewood and not post Traeger in the other one, or do we have to,
I don't know the answer to that, I'd have to research that.
And all the short roads like Wild Turkey Run, Bourbon Run, that dead end, you
Yeah.
can post those.
That's what he said.
By the way, the Bourbon Run sign has been stolen
Yes.
again.
Was it Bourbon Run or
Really?
Turkey?
Bourbon Run.
Okay, yeah, that's right, that's what we couldn't find on that fire run. Yeah, that was fun. So anyway, so the issue is, yeah, I thought that was a good idea, and there are provisions within the rules for us to do that. But Keith said if we do that, then we have to.
maybe we ought to pick the ones that are off of tarred roads and post those, and make all those 35. You post those once, and therefore you get the impression that the ones beyond it are also 35.
The impression's not gonna stand up in court.
No, but those are the big ones.
Well, we can certainly take a look at that. There's no provision in the readings that I've made that says, post one and the branches are therefore covered. It's just simply saying that if we, as a town, say all dirt roads are 35, we need to post them at both ends.
How much are those signs? Are they?
I don't know.
Around $75 to $100 a piece.
All right, besides the straightaway on the River Road, have we got any other roads with like I see where they can get ripping through, they make the right turn and left.
You've got Howard Road, is that gonna be 35?
And that's a long straightaway there, and that's where some of the people have concerns.
Well, that strip right there, yeah, that's it.
But
then
the
when you
rest
get
of
to the
it
other side of it's,
Is,
yeah,
if you go 35, it's moving.
it's,
And
yeah.
I think a lot of our other roads are like that too, that if you were going 50, you were like gonna do it, whether there was a 35-mile-an-hour sign up or not.
The tricky piece about this, aside from the fact that it's dirt road and there's not many shoulders, is there's a sight distance issue where you just cannot see far enough down the road to be doing more than 25 miles an hour. 'Cause you just can't see what's coming around the corner. And there's very little side way to make mistakes. I mean, there's long stretches where there are no shoulders at all. There's no bailout positions at all.
Right.
So I'm perfectly happy to consider doing all of them, but the consequence of that is that we end up spending money to post all of them. But all of them aren't problems. Some of them are self-eliminating, quite honestly. The other end of it, not the end closest to 100, pretty much self-correcting. You do too much over 25 miles an hour, you're braking suddenly and swerving. So anyway, that's why I brought this. This is an option. This is only a test. This is to let you guys know what it would look like should we decide to do that. Do we then have to post this someplace for a couple of weeks?
Or have a hearing.
I think
Have
if it's
a
an
public
amendment, we don't
We
have to.
don't have to have a
Oh.
hearing, only if
No
we do
hearing?
it under to the 25.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay, I'm not sure. I know someone told me today that she thought we'd have a hearing anytime we make an amendment to an ordinance. But I don't know the actual rule on that.
I don't
Um,
I don't always have a hearing.
So that's something to
Now-
think about.
The ordinance we were looking at says that the select board can amend this ordinance at any time. What does our traffic ordinance say?
yeah,
I got it here.
Does our traffic ordinance talk about amendments?
Let's take a look.
There's another route you could go. We could put some law enforcement on that road for a while. I mean, it's the only road we're getting concerns about.
Yeah, but
Right now.
if we don't make it a 35-mile-an-hour limit,
Didn't go 50.
then 50 miles is what the officer will have to allow.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But couldn't we, as Andy say, ask the sheriffs to do that? To
Well,
do a
we-
survey on that?
Oh, the survey?
Well, we
Yeah.
have,
There's an expense to that as well.
right, they have to do the,
We have to
we
pay
have to
them for
post it.
that?
Oh, yeah, we have to post it, we have to have a hearing. There's quite a bit of,
The citizen, one of them voiced their concerns to me too, and I said that feel free to call the sheriff's department.
Yeah, I
Or
also.
come sit in
thought
your
the same
driveway
thing.
if you'd like them to, you know, with radar. But then again, it's,
If
what, are you
it's-
gonna catch someone going 55 or?
Yeah, right. If the legal speed limit technically is 50.
Right.
I could see posting
And it
this
is.
one road.
Unless otherwise stated, isn't that what it is?
Yeah, I don't know what other
I
roads.
was just up in Westminster the other night, and I came upon a dirt road that said 50 miles an hour unless otherwise posted, and it was in dirt. And then right the next day, the woman voiced her concerns about speed on that road.
well, I mean, Route 30, during town, it's 30 miles an hour.
Right.
They go 50 by my house,
All right.
especially this white one makes a lot of noise.
I've used that on Pike Falls.
This white
Yeah, I
car.
thought it was
Yeah.
on the street.
Not to go over the speed limits and
Is that the one that's parked out here in the lot?
they're on TV, that's good. Temporary plates on.
Are there other roads, other gravel roads that we need to maybe look at, like, for example,
I can't
South Hill?
think
Are
of,
there problems on South Hill?
I haven't heard of any. I don't know
About,
for sure. Southfield may already be covered. We have a list of amendments here. We haven't quite got to.
How about Pikes Falls? What is that?
That's-
Is that listed
35.
already?
That's already done.
That's done. Gold Pond Road's been done. That's got two
Okay.
sections, 25
Oh.
and 35. Pikes Falls has got a 25 section and 35 for the rest of it. Turkey Mountain is 25 for the length.
Mhm.
Maximum speed is posted instead of around Vermont Route 30. Okay, that's the state ones. We also have already for, oh, that was one for your street.
Oh, okay.
Now, what happened with Depot Street when that sign was 15 miles an hour and that was illegal?
I think they took that sign down.
I know it's down, but how did that come to be?
I don't know the incident. I know we as a town can't lower it below 25.
Okay, that's why it came down.
Because it has to be through a study, it's gotta have a study to
Right.
go that low.
And I
It's
think
25.
we may have actually had Keith remove that. I don't remember. We talked about
We
it.
talked about that, yeah. I mean, I think we ought to stick, right now, we can be here till midnight talking about all the dirt roads that we don't know which ones are dirt and which ones are tar. To go with this one first.
I would make a
Start
motion
this one.
that we posted this road unless there, before I do that, was the question ever answered about changing the?
No, there's nothing in here that talks about changing.
All right, then.
Okay, we're gonna have to check to be sure.
Well, this is strictly, now understand, this is strictly a traffic ordinance. Do we have a Jamaica ordinance that tells us how to fix ordinances?
It would either be
It
our
is-
charter, or if it's not in our charter, it would be state law. If we have special provisions in our charter, then we can follow those provisions. If we don't, we have to follow state law.
Well, then here's the question.
Be able to get that.
The other ones that were accomplished, in fact, the last one I think was with when Oliver was here. Did they do that? Did they go through that whole process back then?
So, no, I wasn't around, I wasn't on the board then.
So that's the question. It's very clear in the law that we can do it. It's not clear in the law how we can do it, if that makes sense. Uh-oh. Were you here when Oliver was the chair? Do you remember having any kind of a public hearing for these things back when we changed them?
On the ones that we had to study on.
This was in May 2007. That's back with Clark, Oliver, and Nelson Coleman
What does it say?
in 2007. That's the one that got yours, Pikes Falls, Coal Pond, Turkey Mountain, oh, that's yours, yeah. So that was in 2007.
Should we look into this more? And
I think
it's
we
on the
should.
record, I mean, we're on
Yeah.
camera that we are addressing the
Right,
complaint,
we should
the
look in,
concerns.
we should look into it more before we,
Okay,
to make sure we're doing it the right way.
sure.
Because, you know, there's some other points that have been made.
Right. 'Cause
I'm just trying to think of any dirt roads with straightaways like that, and I really can't think of a lot of them, but Jamaica is.
Well, West Jamaica Road, that's pretty curvy. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's so.
Yeah.
50, you
Yeah.
know, I got snowmobiles, and there are some speed limits, but you can go over a road a lot faster on a snowmobile than you can a car. It's like insane what 50 miles an hour is in a car compared to a sled.
Mm.
And we have a motorcycle on our road that for sure is going over 25 miles an hour. The other, question I have, we have at least 3 or 4 people on our road that have the 4-wheel
Right.
little carts, or not carts,
Gators.
Derek, or John Deere.
Yeah, they've got the nickname is like a gator, 6-wheel.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, 6-wheel.
And none of them are licensed.
That's a law enforcement issue.
Yeah, I know. But are they allowed to go on?
No.
No,
No vehicle that doesn't have that's not registered should be
it shouldn't be
allowed
on
on
a road,
on
no.
a class 3 or 2 road.
Oh, okay.
I think the exception of that farm vehicle moving from one section of the farm to another section of the farm, with the appropriate triangle.
4-wheelers are
So
not the only road they're riding on.
No, it's true.
what, do we not do anything
Call police.
about
The
it?
state
They're
police,
concerned.
yeah,
The state or sheriff?
state police,
State
I would
police.
call the state police on that one.
Okay.
Yep.
Was on the weekends when visitors are up, they're just all over the place?
Well, it should happen too, because they don't know when they come up. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, when the police come up.
Mhm.
Okay, why don't we do further, research on this, making sure we're doing it
Sure.
the right way, get the right answers, and then, continue with that at our next meeting.
Okay, we should
Or
be
as soon
able
as
to.
you get the information, as soon as all the information is available to us,
Mhm.
that we are doing it the right way.
But we are in here.
Does that sound
Yeah.
agreeable to everybody?
Yep.
Okay. Lou, let's go back to, Lou wanted to look at that sidewalk to see
Oh, yeah.
I went down, I think the sidewalk, the new one is gonna have a curb. Is it
The
gonna?
new one's gonna have a curb, it's gonna be right next to the new road, so it's clearly gonna come to an abrupt halt.
It'll transition down into Morance's driveway
Yep.
and stop.
It's
to meet the
right
new one.
there.
The driveway and then it'll, the existing sidewalk. will
And
be
the
there.
existing sidewalk is not in bad shape.
I asked him
But to
about.
make a good point about the curb, it won't have, the existing sidewalk does not have a
It won't
curb.
have a
Correct.
curb, right.
But understand that what we're putting in the roadway, the new road that's coming in is going to be designed in such a way as to minimize water flow into the property.
Back towards the river.
Yeah, so that the curb will not be necessary to get the water off the property, it's just gonna be backed in such a way. And the elevation's been adjusted so that it will shed the water.
Because it's gonna cost us more money to have more pavement, new pavement put in. I'd rather see new pavement rather than $15,000 worth of sidewalk. And put that towards the pavement.
Before, I was under the impression that that was part of
FEMA.
the FEMA was gonna cover that.
They're gonna cover what was washed
No, I
away.
understand that now.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was gonna be on the rest of it.
well,
Right.
that's why I had to look it up.
And I imagine the paving couldn't be quite, but we don't have a,
We don't have a number on that, I asked Mike for that last week, and he was gonna give me an answer. He's gonna talk to,
who's gonna do it?
Bob O'Brien, I believe, is gonna be
Yeah,
doing
I
it.
heard that they had,
To have the,
I heard
Did
that.
Bruce get the contract?
I believe they're gonna use them, that's.
that's my understanding.
So they'll have to talk-
He was gonna check on the extra cost,
Okay.
so make sure that
So I
that is
don't know,
separate.
but I think the extra cost, I'd rather see it on the pavement, and then they'll do it the right way, so it'll, I don't know, what do you think?
I think the pavement is really, really important, more so than the sidewalk.
What do you think, Luke?
A sidewalk that's level with the road is useless, as far as I'm concerned, without a curb. So I wouldn't mind putting paving over it myself.
No, I don't want paving over it, that's.
Pave over the sidewalk.
But what are you talking about with paving then? More
We're repaving
paving?
the road
Just
alongside the
Just
sidewalk.
paving the road, but not, just leave the existing.
I thought we were
sidewalk.
already gonna pave the road.
We are.
So
Right.
what additional paving are you talking about?
None. We're
Well,
not talking
not
about,
additional, but we have to pay for where the FEMA's gonna stop paying, and we have to pay for the rest of it to go to Route 30.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna pay that.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
right, right, so I'd rather see the extra money that we have to pay for the paving rather than tear out the sidewalk and fix the sidewalk that's already there that's usable.
Was that subbed out in the, it doesn't say in the contract, but that wasn't figured into Fitzpatrick's bid
which wasn't.
to replace that old sidewalk?
No, it's not.
No.
No, this is something we talked about last
All right.
meeting, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't figured in, and that's why I asked him to get a figure, tell me what it would be, I'd come back here and say, here's what it's gonna cost, $1.98, we'll go with it, but it's a little bit more.
If anyone's asking, I say leave that part of the sidewalk, but I have some other questions about.
Okay, go ahead.
We all seem to be substantial agreement to leave the sidewalk alone?
Doesn't, to me, it's.
We could come back, we could do it later if we had money.
Well, yeah, the advantage right now is they're already dug it up and they're making one, to just keep on, but we can't do that, so we can always come back later on if we suddenly win the lottery.
I know, the managers, they've been in front of my house for 3 weeks.
You know them well.
But it was my understanding that the guardrails would go in after it was paved.
I heard today that they're gonna put them in now.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I think I've heard it from you.
Do
See
they
how much I
usually pave the
rely on it.
guardrails, is that what they do, are they paving them in, is that gonna?
Well, no, they have to drill them in, according
No, I know
to,
that, but does
yeah.
the extra paving keep them?
well, the pavement was gonna not go beyond the guardrail anyway, it's just gonna go up to the guardrail edge.
Okay.
But what the original plan was to pave it and then put it in, and then I heard today, apparently, that
I
they're
didn't
gonna
hear
put it
that
in.
from Mike. So,
Okay, you heard it from somebody else.
it's one of the people working for him.
So, see, one of the ways with there's only really one game in town when it comes to guardrails. That's Lafayette guardrail fixing people. And it's possible that they suddenly had an opportunity to do it in their schedule. Because they're all over the place doing guardrails. So sometimes the schedules will wax and wane depending on what's available. That could be the case.
Okay.
No one has told me officially anything, except that it would go in after the pavement. But then again, I'm not down there every day, so he may have something
Like
changed.
the engineer wouldn't be alarmed at.
I haven't talked to the engineer yet. He was alarmed at another couple of things that they
Yes.
did, yeah.
You're aware that the sidewalk had to be moved over 7 inches after they had it laid out.
Would they have it laid out in the wrong spot?
Yeah. They misread the markings apparently.
So that's an extra, that's why it's been like another week.
Who caught that?
CHA.
Our engineer got it.
So our engineer was doing some
Yeah.
periodic
It was pinched up by Sherwood's. That kind of something didn't measure
That's
up there.
that's what we pay for.
Yeah, except that sometimes you have a person on site every day. They aren't on site every day,
Oh, okay. So that's how it happened?
Yeah,
It went off in the
You
wrong-
caught it.
evidently, yeah.
Well, we had a person on site every day, it was me, and I didn't understand what was going on, I didn't realize it was
I mean,
on.
Yeah, but you're not the engineer
No.
that we're
And
paying
so-
for.
It's
He
just
did
barely
a lot.
barely out of whack.
Yeah. But they got that fixed.
Yes.
Yep.
They came to an agreement and moved
Yeah.
it over,
That's an agreement.
especially down at the water and depot
Yeah.
intersection. It moved over right flush to the stone wall there. And then they kind of ate it the rest of the way up.
Is that okay with the landowner at that spot?
That's all.
You should know.
But anyway, that's what kind of slowed it
Yeah.
down some, and they're gonna start pouring it tomorrow.
But they're moving on, I mean, there's clearly progress to be seen.
So now, are we gonna get the new guardrails?
That's what was my next question.
The last I talked to Mike, we talked about weathered versus new guardrails. And he said that he was looking into getting the weathered ones.
Yeah, are the weathered ones used where
It's-
they're gonna not be?
I told him I didn't want to have
as
any
the-
guardrails that had been used by large trucks or cars bouncing off of them. He said, no, that's not what would be done. They've been out in the weather. There was
But they're still,
They weren't.
Never
put
been
in a row,
installed.
They've never been installed.
that's what I can't get an answer.
Right.
I believe they have been installed.
Well, our bid says that we're getting new guardrails.
That's the bid.
It'd be great
Exactly.
for Fitzpatrick's if they had
Exactly.
some kicking around they can use, but
Precisely. The question then was, we got into the business of whether or not we wanted to have the aesthetic advantage of the weathered guardrail versus the brand new shiny ones. And that battle went back and forth, and so the compromise with it was rather than no guardrails at
who
all.
was in that battle?
People, your neighbors,
Like one or two
a
houses?
couple of houses, yeah.
But our bid that we accepted
Yeah.
calls for brand new
Brand new
guardrails.
guardrails. I'm just
Well, the bid calls for guardrails, it doesn't actually say brand new. So
No, but
we have some,
guardrails that were used were taken out. Are they gonna be?
that's what I want to look at them for. I said I'd like to look at them.
What's the word I'm looking for? Sturdy?
If they,
Well, I don't, no. My understanding is the guardrails may be used, but the stanchions that go into the ground are new.
I know.
Yeah, because they have to
I
be,
mean, I don't wanna see guardrails with bumps in it.
no,
like somebody's
that's,
trying to
and they
hit
assured me that it was
things.
not been used by people hitting them, just weathered. That's why I don't like the word used.
does anyone have the bid we accepted? What it said?
Oh, if it
about-
just says
said
guardrails.
they provide guardrails?
Yeah.
Well, if they provide pavement, is it gonna be?
Well, there's a lot more stipulations on the pavement, rocks and all that stuff. No, what happens is FEMA says guardrails, and we bid out for those guardrails, and that's what they'll pay for. If we can get them, if we can get the weathered ones, then the local residents would prefer that than glaring silver ones.
But even the new ones aren't shiny silver. I've
They
seen
won't be
them.
for long.
No, they won't.
Yeah,
They
for a
took
couple
all the
winters.
they're already weathered.
They get weathered rather quickly.
Well, I presented the position, if the select board would like me to give directions to Mike to go back to the new ones, I will be more than happy to do that.
See, then there are new ones.
The new ones are available, but we just need to tell them before they start putting them in, which ones they're gonna do.
Well, if they're new but weathered, that's fine. If they're old but weathered, I don't think that's fine.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
I'm not sure you can get weathered, but.
Well, you just told me they were new guardrails that sat out for a while and.
No, I'm just saying they're guardrails when they weren't new, but they have been exposed to the elements.
Yeah, but have they been used on roads?
Installed.
I believe they have been
Yeah.
previously installed,
Yes, I'd rather
but
have
not
something
been
that's never
buckled or
been
installed.
installed.
When I voted to accept that bid, I hate to use the word assume that there'd be new guardrails going on.
Yeah, me
in
too.
construction.
Absolutely,
Me too.
that would make perfectly good sense.
And that's what's best for the town.
I have no problem with new but weathered, but I have a problem with old but weathered.
The issue
Using
becomes
what?
one of the residents and the voters asking us to not have that.
Right.
I don't hear,
And I
Looking
think
for the
it's
best
a money
interest of the
deal
town.
going on here. I mean, we're talking about aesthetics. My sense is, and maybe I'm wrong, is that if they use used guardrails, it's gonna be a lot cheaper for them and they're gonna make more money on the deal.
Yeah, but this didn't come from him, this came from us.
No,
Mike didn't generate that, that came from our citizens who met with me on a regular basis when they weren't calling me, saying we don't wanna have shiny guardrails.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that was where that came from.
Right.
yeah, but that shouldn't sway the whole,
It doesn't.
I never saw them here talking about that.
It's 'cause I kinda-
I think we ought to go with the new guard.
If you will direct me, and if the select
Not
board
use guardrails.
directs me, I will make that call first thing tomorrow morning.
We have a choice,
Well, we do.
Do we need a motion?
No,
because it's already in the
it's in
bid.
the, it's in the bid. I think we ought
I
to
think
just.
we're all in agreement, new and weathered is fine, anything but new is not fine.
Right.
Right.
I will share that with him first thing in the morning.
That being not previously installed,
Right.
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 and then uninstalled, and reinstalled on Water Street.
I'll ask him, but I'm pretty sure it's previously installed.
I am too, from what I've heard.
I will share that with the contractor in the morning, and then we will be prepared to hear the outrageous slings and arrows,
That's all right.
which will be coming
I
our
would
way.
suggest that they come here, not to you.
Well, I'd like to
Yes.
see that myself. In fact, they were scheduled to come one night.
They talked to me, Phil,
That's
and
right.
I asked them to come here.
They should,
Yeah,
right,
They
because
should
one
come
person
here.
can't make a decision.
right.
Right.
Okay,
Anything else? That was your three things, you're done.
I'm done.
Andy?
No, I answered them all, I guess. I can say as a resident that things are coming along on Water Street. They made me cut our lilacs back a little further than.
But they'll
Yes,
grow
they-
bigger next year.
They have to be 8 feet, I guess, unless, in case somebody like Rich is carrying a kid on his shoulders or something.
Yeah.
Close
I
one
would
a
see you
little.
carrying kids on your shoulders often, Rich.
So we cut them back a little bit further, which is absolutely no problem.
We have
This
been
morning.
getting a lot of cooperation from the residents at that end of the road.
This morning I got them,
Good.
so they're ready to pour tomorrow.
Good.
It will be good. Starting to look
Nice,
nice.
yeah. Okay, we've got a couple of things to look at. One is Windham Wood Heat and the VLCT Town Fair. I'll just pass it around. You can just,
Can I-
it's just information. Oh, I'm
Real quick, one more thing before you brought it up. Remember some weeks ago, once maybe, we were talking about going along with the Windham School District's oil purchase. And I contacted them, we put our name in. I called them again last week, or the week before last time.
School? Grade school?
No, the Windham, what's it called?
Yeah. It came-
Supervisory Union?
Oh, supervisor, okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Because they've gotten a number of schools and towns on
Right.
board for a large mass purchase of oil.
Right.
Okay,
I called them again and I haven't heard back. I haven't heard anything back from my phone call. So I will continue to call them, but understand that we're getting a little long in the season here.
right,
So we may have to make a decision soon.
yeah, we're gonna
And
have to.
I don't know, we have to get it, we haven't heard from them yet. I would think that that decision's been made and we just haven't heard back. But I'll be following up on that too, but just to give you guys a heads up on that.
Yeah.
Because I know Terry was saying, we gotta start thinking
Okay.
about
Is
mines.
there a deadline with,
Curly, no, they said they'd hold
Okay.
for a while, because they did send all that information that we have. So I did talk to them and
In
they,
other words, buying in bulk.
Yes, and the prices are dramatically different.
right,
Terry and I went to a meeting last fall, I guess it was, and the difference was dramatic, more than $1.
right, if you could keep on that, that'd be
That is
great.
good.
Yeah. So I'll call them tomorrow and see if we can get a better idea what's going on.
Okay,
I'm sorry, that came to mind, I knew there was something else.
that's fine, thank you. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
What?
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Holy
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
okay.